Hi, I'm Amanda Zdanovic, founder and director of SoHo Yoga in Grange here in Brisbane. And I'm also the director of training of our 200-hour Vinyasa Yoga Teacher Training, which I'm here to tell you a little bit about today. But before you embark on any yoga teacher training, it's important to consider a couple of the following things. So first of all, you need to decide between a full-time or a part-time teacher training. Now, there's benefits to both, obviously. A full-time or intensive training, they're often offered overseas over a period of a month or so. And part-time trainings are normally offered over several months closer to home. So while an intensive training, especially overseas, can be a beautiful and immersive experience, it's worth remembering that it could also be physically exhausting as well as mentally quite overwhelming. Unlike being on a luxurious retreat, the days can be very long, and there's a huge amount of information to absorb in a relatively short period of time. A part-time training, on the other hand, enables you to kind of revisit the practices and really integrate the learnings between sessions, as well as obviously be able to manage around your day-to-day sort of life, work and family commitments. Another thing to consider is that traditionally the yoga wisdom was disseminated over many years of mentorship between a teacher and a student, and for good reason. Yoga is a philosophy and a practice that is taught and learned from lived experience, and needs to be really thoroughly integrated and embodied before it can be shared with others as a teacher in the time-honoured tradition. So our 200-hour teacher training is offered over 9 long weekends, over 9 months, enabling you to do just that. So each weekend we build upon the foundations of the previous weekend, and then giving you time and space in between to really review, absorb and integrate the learnings between each session before progressing. So the next thing you might like to consider is whether to do an in-person training, face-to-face, or an online or hybrid option. Now, this might just come down to the practicalities of travel or accessibility, particularly if you live in a remote area. But an in-person training really offers profound benefits that an online course simply can't replicate. So the friendships made and the camaraderie experienced in a small group setting are often the highlight of our teacher training offerings. And also, in an age of increasing social isolation and associated mental health decline, a face-to-face training immerses you in that all-important, supportive community and really provides a safe space to be vulnerable and for personal growth and development. The accountability of an in-person training is also a motivator to create that time and space in your day-to-day life, to carve out those weekends, to really immerse yourself in your studies, also helping you to stay committed to the course. And the immediate and insightful feedback you get from your teacher and from your fellow students really helps to build confidence and competence. Yoga is also so much more than the asana practice that most people are familiar with on the mat. Like any philosophy, the complex teachings of yoga are not meant to be passively consumed online. They're meant to be discussed and questioned and explored in a classroom setting. There's time and space to share thoughts, to share experiences and seek clarification, not just from an experienced teacher, but also from your fellow students, from the collective group, which also helps to make the learning experience so much more enjoyable and memorable. The next thing you might like to consider is what style of yoga asana you wish to study. So yoga asana, the physical practice of yoga on the mat, is only one of 8 limbs of yoga that you will study on any yoga teacher training course, but it's obviously an important part of it. And there are numerous styles on offer from different yoga traditions. So my recommendation is be sure to practice with the lead teachers of any yoga teacher training course that you're considering before committing. just to ensure it's a style and a philosophy that really resonates with you. So at SoHo Yoga, our 200-hour teacher training is in the contemporary Vinyasa style that you may well be familiar with. But the Sanskrit word Vinyasa actually means to place in a special way, as in the linking of one posture to the next. So in Vinyasa, special emphasis is placed upon the way that we consciously and mindfully transition in and out of the poses with breath awareness, and also combine them into a continual flow that really has a feeling of interconnectedness and wholeness. Our particular training is also rooted in a really sophisticated system of alignment principles, which combined with tantric philosophy and a detailed understanding of energetic anatomy and the chakras result in what we call a heart-led, spiritually inspiring, alignment-focused Vinyasa yoga method. Another thing to consider is whether you wish to start with a minimum 200-hour yoga teacher training or a longer, say 250 or even 350-hour training. Now, in my personal experience, both as a teacher and as an employer of teachers, there's no substitute for experience. So a comprehensive, face-to-face, 200-hour teacher training, combined with years of prior experience, should equip you with all the skills you need to safely and competently start teaching yoga well. Once you've mastered the basics through that teaching practice and experience, you'll inevitably want to build upon those skills, and yoga really becomes a lifelong learning experience. But don't try to run before you can walk. There's really no need to invest more time and more money at this stage in acquiring additional skills or knowledge until you've really integrated, embodied and mastered the basics that are covered in a comprehensive face-to-face 200-hour yoga teacher training. So a little bit more about the SoHo Yoga teacher training course. We really focus on creating and holding a safe space for our students on what is a transformative journey, awakening to your own divine nature. So our training is unique in that it's based around the chakra system, the 7 primary energy centers in the body, and takes students on a progressive journey from the fundamentals of yoga theory and practice towards a more profound state of higher consciousness and a sense of interconnectedness to the world around us. So while it is important to have been practicing yoga for some time, ideally a minimum of 2 years, you don't need to have what most people will consider an advanced yoga asana practice. We will teach you principles of alignment that will support you to enhance your asana practice. We'll also teach you biomechanics, adjustments, intelligent sequencing, and the use of props so that you can adapt and modify your practice as needed for your body, or any body for that matter, so that you can also teach others safely and confidently. The rest of our curriculum covers the highlights of over 3,000 years of yoga history and philosophy, and includes pranayama, obviously, breath work, and meditation. We'll also give you all the skills that you need to assume the seat of a teacher and create a sustainable career. And maybe most importantly, we will give you ample opportunity from the very first weekend to put those newly acquired skills into practice. It won't be just me at the front of the class. I will be joined by my colleague and co-director of training, Sheila Ferguson, throughout the course, and also the wonderful and eminently more qualified Paula Hindle to teach the yoga anatomy and physiology. We'll also be joined by guests and expert teachers in Ayurveda and mantra and chanting. So if I've piqued your interest and you wish to learn more about the SoHo Yoga 200-hour Vinyasa Yoga Teacher Training course, simply follow the link below. Thanks for watching, and we hope you can join us.